I sometimes hate living in this modern society. Although we have so many conveniences and the ability to study all the history through technology, we have forgotten how certain words came to be. I think this biggest fault we as Americans are guilty of is that we have forgotten what government is. When I say government, people assume I automatically are talking about the civil government. You see, civil government cannot exist without the coexistence of many other forms of government. And I'll explain in this blog, and it will help you understand why we have borders. You will see as you respect other governments, you will find out why we have borders and why they are so important. Number one, individual government. Individual government is very important. It has to be the first government ever. Individual government is man by himself, given by the ability to reason out what is right and wrong. Without the first line of defense of reason, there is no contradiction. And without contradiction, we had no individual thought process. We need the ability to check ourselves with others so we may confirm that these ourselves are not perfect. Sometimes individuals hand out justice and not know they're handing out justice, such as the freedom to elect. When we elect a person to become a sheriff, we are granting powers to an individual to act the law of justice that was previously written, but those laws had to be written by individuals. We do not make a decision by popular opinion. We must use past experiences to come to the conclusion why we have individual laws upon us and on others. Individuals have a right to create borders and to live as they see fit as long as they do not violate anything that will hurt another individual. When an individual builds a house, he is creating a border, a separation as you would say. The individual government should always be respected and he has no right to hurt other individuals, but may be called sometime to serve justice on another as an act of justice, not revenge. Man must pay for his act of wrongdoing to another, but the punishment should always fit the crime, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Number two, family government. One of the most rewarding and best governments on the face of the earth is family government. Without family, you have no true education, you have no church, school, and no civilization or even civil government. No society can survive without the family. The family was basically how we get tribes in our First Nations. Many families grew into clans, which grew into tribes and eventually nations. Many do not want you to know that the family have rights, so they use the word institution like they change the word business into corporations because institution and corporation sounds evil when all family and business is more government, or what I like to say, checks and balances for all government. In the days of the early church, one way a leader was chosen, it was on the basis of how well a father ran his family. And sometimes it has reached out to the civil government as well. It does make a difference, and sometimes it is a shame when liberals are able to run their families better than conservatives. I think the best father leads by example. This is why I do not drink alcohol. I lived under a father who did not drink. Believe me, those things rub off on you. A family, again, who establishes a home and educates their family the way they choose fit, creates a border. And there's nothing wrong with creating borders around to protect your children from pedophiles and other disgusting vile things. Sometimes that border could be remote control or the web surfing software you choose or the app that disengages a phone when your daughter decides to drive. However you protect your child is your business as long as you do not harm that child's human rights. Number three, business government. They say one man wanted something that another man wanted and the other man wanted what the other man had, and so they traded. The first business transaction. Everyone in the world is dependent on a little business, from the communist Chinese to the industrial Germans. We have to have business government to make it. Eventually, man created the monetary system, and when they did, there was a volunteers to get some of that monetary to spend onto their family government. If there was no individuals, there would be no families, and without families, there would be no business and churches, and without business or churches, there would be no good civil government. If business did not hand out the monetary value, coin, or dollars, there would be no need for taxes to help to support our civil government. Imagine the money we use as water. Imagine wells or pumps to provide money or that water. Those are businesses. You see, nothing comes from nothing. For you to make money, you need to find someone who wants you to help you make that money. And at the same time you make that money, then you can pay for civil government, which is nothing more than a service, so you do not need to do the ugliness of justice. explain to me, if you get rid of business government, how you would pay for civil government. You might say, well, I get it from the state government. How did the state government get it? They directly tax the business owner. They tax the individual who works for their business. Explain to me how you can have civil government without business government, because I would like for you to teach me, because unless you have a magical wand, it is not possible in this country. We have borders in business government. It is called competition. And without competition, we do not have business who want to do better, or businesses that are allowed to offer their best for the customers and to their employees. Unfortunately, we do not get to see the fruits of true capitalism. Instead, we get to see small businesses regulated by large government so they die. True capitalism would let business fight it out as long as they do not violate an individual's rights. And that the same thing should go for big government as well. Church government. The church gets a bad rap today, which makes no sense to me. Everyone who has been delivered from alcohol or sexual perversion becomes a better member of society. I would talk to many members of the local churches and hear countless testimonies of people who would have been in jail if they had not been converted to Christ, but that's the way it is. It is better we let the church free to help addicts than have them stuck in jail just mooching off the taxpayers' money. The church was our first border of morality in this country, and our founders never dreamed that our federal government would be in the business of morality because we had the church to help with that. But no, we have idiots who have problems with the 10 Commandments. What part don't you like? Oh, you want to murder people? Is that it? Oh, let's see, you hate those weekends off? You might as well throw that out as well, because that came from the Judeo-Christian worldview. Oh, I know what you like, the lying part. That is it. You like to lie. Oh, no, you must like to steal. I do not know about you. I like people who are honest. I do not like to steal, and I love those weekends off. And I have no problem honoring a Heavenly Father who does not want me to cheat on my wife, who wants me to honor and respect my parents. Oh, but apparently some people have problems with morality. We have borders on the church level because there are idiots out there trying to adhere to the letter of the law, not the spirit of the law. But you can practice your religion in this country as long, again, as you do not violate someone else's rights. And believe me, telling someone about Jesus does not violate someone else's right. Number 5, civil government. Finally, we have borders because, let's face it, some civil governments just really suck. You know, like communist government or a Muslim government countries. Hey, but you know what? That is how they have lived for thousands of years. But you know what? This is how we have lived for hundreds of years, and how we became the light of the world, why they are so badly wanting to come over here. They must understand that we have rules and that they must abide by them, like we have to abide by theirs when we come into their country. We have borders because some people suck. They will never understand why we allow individuals' rights, and why we hate a king, and why we carry guns to keep punks from taking over. We have borders because we have different cleaning habits and have learned to adjust to an environment that makes them sick. Border violators become carrier of different diseases because in a third world country they cannot afford medicine many times. For a person to have civil rights, they have to be a member of that civilization. That is why we have civil rights in the first place. If you're not a member of that civilization, you do not have civil rights of that civilization. You have rights which are little or none by the civilization that you come from. That is why we have borders, protect the civilization which have those civil rights of that civilization.